Off the coast of Sheerness in Kent in the United Kingdom lies a wrecked American ship carrying 1,400 tons of explosives that have still yet to be detonated. And if one day they do explode, it would cause chaos to all of the surrounding areas.
We chase the trail where the truth might fall, one step closer to the dark. We're seeking answers, digging through the dust. Every secret's a ghost we can trust. Seeking answers where the silence rusts. The truth's a knife with a blood.
The SS Richard Montgomery is a US Liberty ship built in 1943, named after the Irish soldier of the same name, but in August the following year she was loaded with 7,000 tons of munitions and joined convoy HX-301, sailing from Hog Island in Philadelphia heading for the UK and then planning to continue to Cherbourg in France. She arrived in the Thames Estuary off the coast of Kent and was directed to anchor in the Great Nore anchorage to await further formation. Sadly, on August the 12th, the ship's anchor dragged her into shallow water and she became grounded on the sandbank running east from the Isle of Grain, around 250 metres north of the Medway approach channel, though thankfully nobody was injured. As the tide went down, she ended up breaking her back on the sandbanks. Several ships nearby spotted her drifting towards the sandbank and tried to signal an alert with sirens, but neither managed to gain the attention of Captain Wilkie at the time. A New York-based stevedore company began an intensive effort to try to retrieve all of the cargo on board, but by the following day, a crack appeared in the ship's hull and the forward end began to flood. By September the 25th, the entire ship had been completely flooded, and the plan had to be abandoned. The masts remained visible above the water, but 1,400 tons of undetonated explosives were still on board and still remain there to this day. In July 1967, an attempt was made to neutralize the content of Polish cargo ship Kielce, which had sank decades earlier. But during the mission, she exploded with a force the equivalent of an earthquake measuring a 4.5 on the Richter scale, which ended with a 20-foot crater in the seabed, causing panic and chaos to nearby Folkestone, but thankfully causing no injuries. The concerning thing is that this ship was actually in deeper water than the Richard Montgomery and contained less explosives. It wasn't until 1973 when the SS Richard Montgomery became the first wreck designated as dangerous under Section 2 of the Protection of Wrecks Act 1973, banning anyone from diving to the site. There's a no entry exclusion zone marked around it, and the area is frequently guarded by maritime and coast guard agencies, both visually and by radar, with warning notices on the masts, as well as buoys around the vessel to ensure other ships avoid the area. These explosives could detonate with any slight knock to the wreck, or even the explosives themselves coming into contact with any oxygen. According to University College London professor David Alexander, a top event is all of that goes up and there's an almighty blast and a huge column of water and debris and stuff. And we still have analogues of that from around the world where that has happened in the past, so it's not a totally unforeseen event. It was determined that if the Richard Montgomery were to detonate, it would cause a minor tsunami, sending a 300-meter wide column of water and debris around 3,000 meters high into the air, generating a 5-meter high wave. There are around 20,000 homes in Sheerness, and it's believed that almost every single window would be broken from the blast, and several buildings would be damaged. Though other studies suggest that the wave would only be about 1 meter, 3.3 feet high, but would still be enough to cause flooding in the area. Despite all warnings, in 2015 a paddleboarder was undeterred and actually visited the wreck to touch one of the masts, causing mass public outrage as he was potentially putting lives at risk. Any contact could detonate them, which includes the ship itself deteriorating or the masts themselves falling off, leading plans to remove them which have yet to materialise. Plans to try to recover the remaining explosives are still ongoing, but are constantly being delayed due to the danger involved. though most agree that it needs to be done, including David Alexander, who said, "You'd certainly need enormous care because the structure of the ship is disintegrating at an accelerated rate. I think over the last 77 years the government has thought to itself, well, the longer we leave it, the safer it gets. It appears if you talk to experts in explosives, that is the opposite of the truth. If this ship were to explode, it's been described as being a modern-day recreation of the 1917 Halifax explosion, where the SS Mont Blanc exploded and was the largest man-made explosion in history at the time, until the Trinity nuclear bomb test decades later. So as the ship continues to deteriorate, the continuing and rising danger only grows, and we are only left further seeking answers."